What did we just see happening there?
Well, what we just saw happen was taking no testimony, additional testimony on the coercion to abort, quote, bills. And they passed 3-1 pass. The Democrat on the committee passed. And the coercion to abort bills are unneeded because there are already bills that require doctors to do screening for domestic violence and coercion, if you want to call it coercion. But Right to Life just had a win in that they created a new crime to discourage doctors from going into providing abortions. This has already passed the House. These are House bills. We only have 5 really good, solid pro-choice votes out of the 38 members of the Senate. There are several that are mixed voting records, so we don't know how they'll vote. But for sure this will pass the Senate floor, and we will have a new law harassing doctors who are providers of abortions in Michigan, creating more liability for them, increasing their insurance costs, which then increases the cost of abortions.
That's why we're paying them.
So this is, another indication that elections have consequences. And in 2010, we had a tsunami of anti-choice people elected, and this is one of the results.
Any hope that the governor will veto the bill that might reach his desk?
I doubt it. I doubt that he will veto it. I think he'll sign it. He's announced that he's pro-life. He differs from the Catholic Conference and Right to Life, and then that he believes there should be an exception for rape and incest, and the Catholic Church and Right to Life do not think that there should be an exception for rape and incest. So I think he'll sign the bills. The Domestic Violence Coalition organization endorsed these bills today. They were neutral when they were in the House, but they've changed their position. Even though there already is a law protecting women from domestic violence, and these situations when women get pregnant, often it increases. We know that, and so there are good laws already here, but they're a disappointment that they have supported the bills along with Right to Life.
Testimony last week included a woman who had talked about how her parents had tried to pressure her because she was young, and they were concerned about this impeding her future, including the promising to help her with support. Does this have implications for people other than doctors in terms of criminalizing their behavior?
The bills say that if you threaten to reduce support, or you threaten physically, or you in any way try to offer an incentive to abort or coercion to abort, you're liable under these bills. So parents need to be cautious, because I think in one case, I believe the penalties are even greater if the person who's pregnant, the woman who's pregnant, is under 18. And we know in these situations where a youngster, a teen is pregnant, there's a lot of emotion involved, and you have an inexperienced person trying to make decisions, sometimes not even sharing this information with their parent. And when they do, there's, for at least some parents, kind of an explosion of their own point of view on this. So there's I'm sure that this will interfere with parental rights to communicate with their own children. And a lot of these people who voted yes on this bill today are parental rights mavens, and they're homeschoolers and those kind of people. So I don't know where that will end up. I think that also this whole definition of coercion is pretty slippery, and no doubt this is going to make for a lot of litigation. I'm hoping that it's a First Amendment violation, but you never can tell where this is going to go. We had a vote today on one of these fringe issues that Rebecca talked about, called the coercion bills, coercive abortion bills. And unfortunately, the Domestic Violence Coalition supports those bills. There's already laws that make doctors have to ask about domestic violence. If you're a woman, and maybe if you're a man too, you get asked when you go in for your annual checkup, do you face any domestic violence in your home. So they have to do this in their interactions. But at any rate, it's an excessive law, and it passed 3-0 out of committee. It's already passed the House. It'll sail through the Senate. We only have 5 out of 38 solid pro-choice votes in the Senate. Sam's not running for the Senate. And so we have 3 or 4 or 5 that have mixed voting records. So it'll get through the Senate, and the governor probably will sign it. He made statements to the 20,000 people who he appeared before. Only 20,000 in this whole state during his campaign. He only was in one so-called debate and generally run a fairly secretive campaign with not much public exposure. That he was pro-life. But the problem is that he differs from Right to Life of Michigan, and he differs from the Catholic Conference, the bishops basically, not the nuns. The nuns have a different point of view, we have noticed lately. At any rate, in that he believes in an exception for rape and incest, whereas the Catholic bishops and Right to Life Michigan only have an exception to save the life of the mother. And in practice, in a Catholic bishop-run hospital, it means that the fetal heartbeat has to be gone before a miscarriage can be completed with a therapeutic abortion, no matter what physical health challenges there are to the woman. Bleeding, organs being ripped up, potential strokes and heart attack, or whatever else might be going on. That fetal heartbeat has to be gone before a bishop will authorize a therapeutic abortion. These are usually second term of miscarriages, third term of miscarriages. At any rate, we have a very difficult situation in our legislature. The House is a little bit, although 59% of them are all first-termers, is not as pro-life as the Senate. So that there is some inability there. If they would just follow the Constitution and recognize the 20% who might want a recorded vote and who might want to vote on immediate effect, there's a little bit of a chance there to stop a few things, but not anti-choice stuff. Some other, you were asking about, where were we when I started this?
I think there was a question on personhood and how
Personhood.
you fight personhood.
Well, Right to Life is against the Personhood Amendment. For whatever reason. They have made a public statement to that effect. Now there's a proposed statute, that would define a fetus as a person, which is different than the Mississippi-style personhood amendment from the moment of conception. Mike Rogers believes that the reason why, he's a Bishop fan, and he believes that, because he's written to me about this, we've had conversations about this, that it's a lack of due process for the fetus, that the fetus should have a right to go to court and defend itself, and that's why he opposes abortion. And he said this in writing to me. So he thinks it's a due process violation. He needs to be defeated on so many levels, but this is one of them also. And he votes defunding Planned Parenthood. He votes for the Stupak Amendment. He just votes the wrong way on everything having to do with social issues. So go Lance. Another thing that's kind of on the edge and is different here, Sam, is that we have this fetal remains set of bills that have passed the Senate or awaiting action in the House, which would require the doctors who are the abortion providers to ask the woman whether she would like this, sometimes, it's this size, very small amount of material, cremated or buried if she want a funeral. And to have that conversation with the woman before the procedure happens.
From Senator Jones?
And the other thing that's happening is they're going after the people who are doing medical waste and putting pressure on them not to take medical waste from abortion clinics. So we have a lot of challenges, and they're very smart people who are going after every little tiny thing about abortion and birth control.